Many amazing villains have touched the screen of Vampire Diaries over its time of airing. The most favorite and notable villains being characters like Silas, Catherine Pierce, Kai Parker, Cole Michelson. Well, let's not forget the non-pareil Klaus Michelson. There are plenty of other villains, but most die-hard fans will argue that one of those villains listed is non-negotiably the best villain in the show. But I stand to disagree. Despite how good those villains are, there was one villain in the show many forgot about that was operating on a completely different playing field in their prime. One that made evil outright satisfying on occasion, made you feel fear or uncertainty whenever they appeared on screen, yet sometimes made you laugh at the same time. And I also believe was the toughest to beat. Hence, when a villain can have this effect, you know they were done perfectly. This villain is none other than Damon Salvatore. With Klaus being my favorite villain, I can assure you that this video holds no biasness, so put down the weapon you're pointing at the screen and just hear me out. Ladies, I'ma hold your hand when I say this. Damon is undoubtedly the best villain to ever touch the Vampire Diaries series and is not even close. Some of you may be confused right now thinking, but wait, Damon isn't a villain, he's just an anti-hero. But that's where you're wrong. A villain is the main source of conflict for the protagonist / hero in a story. They are typically an evil character or force whose actions and motivations oppose those of the hero. Damon fits this category perfectly according to the early seasons. Damon in the early seasons was a villain to everyone, mainly Stefan, and everything. But as the series goes on, he becomes a villain to everyone except for those close to him or Elena. Now that we understand that, we can now go back to the beginning to grasp what made Damon villainous character, along with mindset, so special and different from all the other villains in the show. Damon's first appearance premiered on the first episode pilot in season 1. For a recap, Stefan makes it home confused after a vampire attack incident and wonders if there was another vampire in town causing trouble. Then a mysterious crow flies in the room past his head. A split second later, Damon appears as smug as ever, introducing himself as Stefan's older brother. After cracking a few very dark jokes along the lines of eating Elena and then roughly toying with Stefan, Damon utters a line which made me realize that he may be a real deal villain.
I take that as an invitation.
Damon, please. After all of these years, can't we just give it a rest?
I promised you an eternity of misery, so I'm just keeping my word.
I promise you of eternity of misery. Keep in mind, he wasn't talking to his lifelong enemy or nemesis, he was talking to his little brother. Automatically from this first episode, the show already establishes that Damon is a peer threat to the peace Stefan wanted to preserve in Mystic Falls, making him the primary villain. After the first episode, Damon appears again and again, always up to no good, trying to ruin Stefan's new peaceful life. From doing despicable things like feeding on and manipulating Caroline, to preying on Elena and the students that went to Mystic Falls High School, it was clear Damon was in town to cause nothing but chaos, all for the love of the game. Although like other villains, he did arrive for a more specific goal, reviving Catherine, the downtimes of his plan, which every villain had, he enjoyed committing atrocities on a complete whim, like turning young Vicky Donovan into a vampire and leading her to a path filled with death and darkness, simply because he was bored, or most notably killing Lexi, Stefan's best friend, for absolutely no reason other than to save himself from being exposed as a vampire, choosing to expose her to Sheriff Forbes as well as do the honors of killing her himself, despite the fact that they had history along with Stefan and her being extremely close. As the story progresses, I began to fully realize that he may be better than any other villain because he simply moves as if he has nothing to lose with maximum immorality. He doesn't care about the evil things he does nor feel empathetic, making him an extremely hard villain to beat in a different way from being extremely strong or sly, which separated him from other villains. When Lexi was introduced in the show, she was one of those characters the show would be dumb to get rid of. But bam, just like that, she's dead in the first episode she appeared on because Damon felt like it. Damon in the early seasons was not bound by anything. It was like he didn't play by the rules of the plot. He could go from relaxed to feral, flirty to murderous, and annoyed to brutal in a split second, and would kill you at a party, in public, at a funeral. It did not matter. When Stefan thought he could provoke Damon by calling his bluff about being a big bad guy, what did Damon end up doing? Tearing Coach Tanner's jugular clean off in the middle of a football game, then renouncing that anyone could get it anywhere, anytime, which he lived up to.
Anyone, anytime,
Like when Elena's Uncle John confidently blackmailed Damon, thinking because they were in a public setting and was filled with vervain that he would be safe. Yet it still backfired. Damon simply broke his neck, then tossed him overboard in the middle of a ceremony. Let's all take a second to thank the writers for making him infatuated with Elena, because without her, I truly believe that he would still be a complete anomaly of a villain roaming around Mystic Falls committing heinous crime. What really separates season 1 Damon from all the other villains is he is simply a foe that is so corrupt that unlike other villains, you can't get leverage over him. Leverage is usually the primary thing that the protagonists in the show use to always beat the big bad villain and or keep them in check. So if you can't gain leverage over a villain who does whatever he wants and enjoys committing evil like playing a video game, then you're universally screwed. Now, I want to get into more personal reasons why I believe he is the best villain introduced in the show, which is enjoyability. Sure, Catherine's unique charm and manipulative ways were fun, or Cloud's being the strongest and making demands 24/7 was cool, and even all the other villains having their own unique traits was interesting. None of them quite reached the level of enjoyability that Damon brings every time he hit the screen. Reason B is simply because they don't have the perfect traits of a villain to the extent Damon has. Damon traits consist of impulsiveness, recklessness, selfishness, boldness, and a large sprinkle of trolliness. Adding on, he's very charismatic, cunning, carefree, and most of all, fearless. Let me give you a few examples of what I mean. Remember when Klaus rode into town wanting to become a hybrid, and despite being one of the strongest things walking the earth, Damon still tries to derail the plan knowing that death is almost guaranteed, but still gets in the way, then trolls him even in what he believed were his final moments, as well as tracking down Klaus to negotiate getting his brother back without a care in the world of what Klaus now fully hybrid was capable of, and even in the face of death again still cracks jokes.
Forget Devin. I'm so much more fun.
Even more when Silas rolled into town, he had Klaus petrified thinking he was going to die. Cole in a midlife crisis thinking the world was about to end. But Damon on the other hand, uncaringly walks up, chokes him out, and makes demands without any fear or hesitation. I don't know about you guys, but constantly seeing quote unquote evil villains in the show getting spooked and being afraid made me look at them as if they were phony and not really the big bad they were made out to be. So seeing a villain like Damon who was unflinching and was still cracks jokes in your face no matter the scenario or how strong you are is extremely rare, and most importantly extremely satisfying. Damon, before his feelings for Elena fully muster, had barely any holes of opening where he could beat him, no morals whatsoever, and going against a villain who is not affected by plot, morals, or fear and is extremely likable is honestly the worst villain to go up against, which made him the blueprint of an unstoppable villain. So I'll say it again, he is hands down the best villain to make an appearance in the Vampire Diaries. So to wrap things up, I believe Damon is the best villain to touch the Vampire Diaries series because throughout all the many villains we have seen, he is the most vile and hardest to beat in his prime of villainy. Despite that, he is the most likable, coolest, and lived up to what a true villain actually is. Many villains have met their fate, but Damon on the other hand won in the end and lived a long, plentiful life. He got the girl fate said he couldn't have, he got the life no villain should live, and he got his humanity back by being selfish and taking what he wants as a true villain would. No other villain has committed the atrocity Damon has and got out at the end. He is the only villain that truly won. So without a doubt, he is the best villain to touch the Vampire Diaries series. That's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you think down below.
Ah, yes, for the love of Elena. How is it that she manages to overlook every horrific thing you've ever done? Is it willful ignorance or perhaps something more pathological?
Some people are just more capable of forgiveness than others. Bet you score about a -500 in that realm.
Come on. There must be a secret. It can't just be the sire bond. What is it? Compulsion? Manipulation? What is it you say to her?
I think that this has something to do with a certain blonde vampire. I think you murdered Carol Lockwood, and I think you're worried that Caroline's never gonna forgive you.
You've done worse.
Debatable. See, I don't mind being the bad guy. Because somebody has to fill that role and get things done. You do bad things for no reason. You do them to be a dick.
Debatable.
If you're gonna be bad with purpose. Otherwise, you're just not worth forgiving.